Hello and welcome to Help Desk with Joe, and with me, as always, Joe.
And we're back again.
Yep, we've had several conversations sitting here talking about today's topic. One of the things I particularly got a kick out of was the question of, well, who knows? And Joe knows, and that's why we're here. And Joe, you know stuff, especially technology-oriented stuff, so that's what we're going to talk about today. Some comparisons you and Cena have made.
Right.
And go ahead and introduce us to the topic.
Well, this is actually a good topic with Christmas right around the corner. People are actually starting to look into this for their kids, mostly, or relatives or whatever, is phones, cell phones.
Yep.
Going with a plan contract deal with like Verizon, AT&T, any of the major providers, or going through a prepaid route.
Right. And that's an option now that's becoming more popular, more viable, and more feasible. And that's what we're talking about. How do you sit down and figure this out? Well, you and Cena have sat down, ran the numbers, and now we're ready to talk about it as a topic today to let people look at the different scenarios. So take us through those scenarios. And like you said, for a gift, Christmas around the corner, birthday, whatever the case may be, even if it's just the right time for you or your family member to upgrade or get different phones or add someone, it's the time to look at this as always just around the corner. So fill us in on the different scenarios that would take place to lead someone down this road.
Okay. Well, like you pretty much covered it. Phone upgrades, first-time buyer, add a new line. These are perfect situations to look at this stuff.
Right.
Now, the difference between the two, what they call the contract or what they call the post-pay scenario is you get the phone, you sign on the dotted line, you're locked in for 2 years.
Right.
Now, a lot of them are changing. You can get a special where it's a 1-year deal, whatever.
Right.
But most of the time, the most common deal is a 2-year contract.
Yep.
Where they call the prepay setup is where you buy the cards and you buy, why it's prepaid, you buy it as you need it.
Right.
So you buy it before you actually need it. And actually, a lot of the prepays, like for example, Straight Talk, one nice thing with them is you can actually set up as a post-pay setup, where instead of buying the cards every month, you can have it automatically billed to your credit card. So it's pretty much a prepaid in a contract deal without the contract.
Okay. So that's the two scenarios that people have as choices as to what decision they need to make. Okay, so now let's start with contracts first. Tell us about the pros of that, and we'll see where that goes.
Okay. With the contracts, you get your phone at a subsidized price or a discounted rate.
Right.
For example, the new iPhone 5C. It's a $550 phone if you buy it straight from Apple or with no contract.
Right.
If you buy the subsidized rate, I seen it this past week as low as $49.
Right.
But you're locked in for 2 years.
And that subsidized rate, I think everybody's familiar with that. You walk into the phone store, they have phone price with contract, and then the price drops way down.
Right.
And that's to entice you to sign that contract and get entered into that deal.
Right, because where they actually make their money is in the service.
Right. Okay. What are some of the pros of entering in that kind of contract?
Well, just the ease of use of, as far as if you have an issue with the phone, you know where the closest store is. If you're on vacation and something happens with your phone, there's usually a store right around the corner or within driving distance, a short distance to get to, repair the phone, replace the phone, whatever your situation may be.
Right. And as you said, each store, they set everything up for you, no problems. Okay.
Right.
What are some of the cons to having that deal?
The cons I have with it is the price, which we'll get into,
right,
and the locking me in, saying, okay, here's your phone. You can't get a new phone for 2 years.
Yep.
Well, I'm a gadget guy. I like to have the newest and greatest. A lot of times I can't afford it, but just having the option that if I wanted to, I don't have to be penalized for doing that.
Or say your husband, wife uses your phone to demonstrate a new product live on the internet and drops it in a bowl of water, and that case doesn't happen to seal, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
You may need a new phone.
Exactly.
Luckily, all the products we've tested so far have worked, and no phones were harmed in any of these shows.
Exactly.
But you're right. Whatever, something could happen, and that would be a downside. Is now you're stuck.
Right.
Okay. Talk about the prepaid side of that then.
Well, the prepaid, a definite pro is the cost.
Right.
And we'll talk about what kind of savings you'll get. You could potentially get with that.
Okay.
And the cons of it is the complete opposite deal with the situation with the phone store. There's no store to go to. It's an 800 number, and a lot of these companies have outsourced their call centers, so you might get a hold of somebody that's difficult to understand and make the process even longer. And an issue we ran into with Cena's phone we tried to activate was we tried to activate it on the website. They always push, go to the website, go to the website. Yeah. We went to the website and it didn't work.
Yeah,
so we ended up calling the company and had to go through this whole mess and had to wait a few more days to get it actually resolved.
And in your business, 2 days without a phone, or anybody's business, whether they be a teacher, coach, whatever the situation may be, your phone's your lifeline.
Right.
So 2 days is a long time, and you just can't, like you said, you can't go around the corner of that store and say, I need a new phone, or fix it, or a loaner, or whatever.
Right.
You're stuck, and if you have to buy a new one, there goes a paycheck.
Yeah. I mean, luckily we was able to use the number on the existing phone we had, so that wasn't a big issue. But it was just more of a hindrance and the annoyance of, I've got this new phone, but I can't use it.
Right. I think that's a definite con, and that's a tough one. So, as we talk about getting past that, I'm struggling to figure out how to word it, but getting past that, what is your suggestion? The average person comes up to you and says, okay, I hear what you're saying. There's pros and cons to each. I'm kind of in between. Tell me what I need to know. What do you throw out for them?
First thing you need to do is do your homework. And if we want to go ahead and go through these deals, we'll talk about the current situation where we was at when we started looking at this. When we purchased our iPhones, they was roughly on sale for $200 a piece. We paid $400 for our phones. That was 2 phones. Then our monthly bill was $165. So, and we was locked in for 2 years. So for that 2 years, we was paying $3,960. For a grand total of the phone and the whole shooting match was $4,359.98.
Right. And so again, you've done your homework. You ran these numbers down. You've looked at your deal, and then now you're looking at what your situation is if you continue down that road.
Right.
Okay.
So the situation we were into was Cena's phone was starting to act up, so she needed a new phone. Well, under our Verizon contract, we had the unlimited data for $20.
Right.
Well, the way Verizon has it set up, that if you bought a new phone at the subsidized price, they was going to put you in that data cap, where they, set you're only allowed so much per month.
Right.
And for us, that would cost us $10 more a month per phone.
Wow. Okay.
So they wouldn't have touched mine until I upgraded, but since she was needing an upgrade, they was automatically going to charge her $10 more per month plus give her a data cap. Yep. So that was a real.
And you can see those numbers coming up. You'd have to get a new phone. Mm-hmm. And then your bill would change, plus you would have the data cap, and then another 2 years, which raised your price by just under $100, or a little over $100, I guess.
Right.
So your money went up, but the data cap would be the strangler.
Right.
That's the kicker that people need to watch out for. We talked about that earlier. You really don't realize how much data you use unless you sit down and, as you said, do your homework and make sure you know how many YouTube videos you're watching, how much media you're sending and receiving. So that can all play into that. And the phone companies are pretty savvy.
Oh yeah.
So
they're not afraid to let you run over your cap. I mean, when they say cap, that doesn't mean that you're shut off for your data. That means you're still able to use your internet, but you're going to pay for it.
Right. So they get you on that end.
Right.
Okay. Upgrade situation number 2, I guess.
Okay. So this was a situation of going away from the contract through Verizon because we'd met our 2-year agreement, so we wouldn't, we didn't have to sign
any penalty or anything.
Right, we didn't have to sign any termination fees or anything like that. So Cena was looking at the new iPhone C, and under Verizon, if we bought it at the subsidized prices, we right at $100.
Right.
But if we bought the phone outright, it was going to be $549, which is kind of a hard pill to swallow at first. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people go, well, I can't pay that. Well, start doing the homework, and you'd be surprised. Okay. So.
And this next photo is going to show what you're talking about. And this is kind of going on you tell the path you're talking about when you start making this turn.
Okay. So where we made the turn was, let's look at the situation where we was at. And we looked at, how much we was paying per month.
Right.
Then we looked at the path of going down to moving her phone over to Straight Talk. So we bought the phone outright for $549. And we had to buy a SIM card through Straight Talk, which is an additional $8.
Yep.
And then on the $45 a month fee through Straight Talk, which is $1,080.
And you multiply that times 2 years to mimic that contract that you would have had to sign.
The $1,080 is for 2 years.
Right, so that's 2 whole years in that. And you look at the grand total, in 2 years, you've just saved, at the minimum, $400 roughly.
Yeah.
And at the next level, you've saved $500 or $600. So when you're looking at that, those numbers, like you said, doing your homework gives you a very clear picture of what you're looking at. And that's just in 2 years of savings. I mean,
and that's
$600. That buys you a lot of stuff.
Well, and that's buying the phone outright.
Yeah.
I mean, you're thinking, well, I can't afford that, which is a hard thing to consider. You know, $600 up front, yeah, that's a lot to cough up. But once you sit down doing the math over, 6 months' time, you're actually spending that $600 probably in your phone bill. So, right now we're saving $25 a month, so that pays for that phone in almost no time.
Yep, and then you get it on the back end of that deal by saving that $600.
Right.
And now you're talking real money that you can utilize.
Right.
So, and that buys you more stuff, whether it be other technology stuff, let you go purchase those goodies. Ooh.
Yeah.
or if you have someone else you need to buy a phone for and so forth. Or just to have Christmas money. I mean, $600 goes a long ways.
Oh,
You have bills to pay or whatever the case may be. So, okay. To kind of cap it off, where do you stand with this? When you and Cena did the numbers, these are your numbers, you see the savings. What would you recommend if I walked in and said, Joe, here's the homework I've done. I've seen your show. I know what you're talking about. I went and looked up the numbers. Here's where I sat. Am I still good to go to save this $600? Is that something you would recommend, based on what we're looking at?
Okay. Well, I would go as far as see who your current carrier is, whether you have Verizon or AT&T, because Straight Talk runs off of the GSM network, which is mostly AT&T signals.
Okay.
So
you want to be to where you get good AT&T signals to go with this deal with Straight Talk.
Right.
Okay. Or are there other options with
there's all kinds of other options. There's Virgin Mobile. There's all kinds of different options, but in this case, around here, we use Straight Talk.
County. Okay, so good. So make sure you have AT&T service. We have pretty good AT&T service everywhere, so it shouldn't be a big problem for Roane County citizens.
Yeah, depending on what carrier you have, and on their site, they'll tell you what signal they're compatible with, so make sure that is compatible with that major carrier in your area that works.
Where you're going to be. Okay. What other considerations would you take into play?
Well, take a look at your current situation. Do you have unlimited data? And if you upgrade your phone, does that carrier allow you to transfer that unlimited data?
Right.
Verizon, they try to buck that any way possible. And like you said earlier before the show, you have AT&T, which as of right now, they're grandfathering that in. So if you have unlimited data now, when you buy a new phone, they're not going to hassle you. They just throw it over the new phone and you're good to go.
As long as I don't change my plan, I keep my unlimited data, which is a nice keep.
Oh, yes.
But at some point, I would still save the $600.
Right.
So save money or worry, and I'm still saving money.
Right. And since we've done this, we've actually talked to a lot of people, and they've actually done their homework and said, well, it would actually cost me more money, which is understandable, because depending on how your contract was written up and all that, there's a lot of outside factors that, each situation's different. So there's some factors that this may not be cost effective to you. You might have the best cost effective plan out there.
Yeah, and like you said, look at your contract.
Right.
Make sure you know what you're getting into, and then compare apples to apples.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and we looked at my situation. I would save money doing this plan.
Right.
So, and you would save money. Is there any reservations you have? You look at it and say, yeah, you'd save money, but, we talked about data. Make sure that the data's good. You get unlimited data with a Straight Talk.
Yeah, with Straight
Talk. Any other considerations you'd look at?
With Straight Talk, it's unlimited voice, text, and data. Now, here's the stipulation. Straight Talk, as well as, if you read the fine print on all your contracts, it says you have unlimited data. With Straight Talk, it's unlimited data to a point. If you use over a certain amount per month, they'll throttle you back. When that means you're used to this fast speed, well, they'll slow you down to a slower speed till the end of the billing month. Okay. And then you'll get back to your full speed. So you're still able to use it, but it just won't be as fast as
you lose some
as
speed.
the beginning of the month.
It's still not terrible, though. It's better than going over your cap and having to pay.
Right.
Okay. All right. And then when you guys looked at it, I see you have some other notes down here. Is there anything else that you need to throw in?
Well, right now I still have my phone on Verizon because I don't have any issues with the phone. And, from our situation, I kind of like to see they have a situation of she has a phone on the GSM network. I have a phone that runs on Verizon's CDMA network. So, irregardless of where we go to, hopefully at least one of us has a signal.
Right. Is that why you always dunk hers in the water?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I understand. Take risks with Cena's phone because it's on the GSM network.
That's right.
Gotcha.
So, and Cena did some extra homework, and if I switched my phone to Straight Talk and paid the full phone price for the iPhone 5C, which is an additional $100, so instead of $549, it'd be $649. Our combined bill for the year would be $3,373.98, which would save us $1,000 from the bill when we both had our iPhone 4s with Verizon, which was $1,200 for the two scenarios.
Yeah, so your savings goes up even farther.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I know what your Christmas present's going to be.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you're going to be on Straight Talk.
All right. And I understand that there's a lot. This is a lot of numbers that we're throwing out at people, but this is just to give you an idea of what to start with and what numbers to crunch and what to look into when you're doing your homework.
Right. And I think you've laid this out really well. People can watch this show, look at your numbers, and see what they need to figure out to compare their bills.
Right.
So it's pretty straightforward. You've done the math. All they got to do is plug their numbers in, and make sure that, as you said, the fine print is compatible.
Right.
And they should be able to make a good cost comparison. If someone had questions, what do they need to know before they come and see you? I'm assuming the contract.
Right. See your contract, see what your monthly bill is, and see what all that bill covers. Because, right now in my situation, I don't have unlimited data. I do have unlimited data, but I don't have unlimited texting. I don't have unlimited voice. Right. So see what that contract entails.
Okay. Have you had anybody that's wanted to go from Straight Talk the other way into a contract, or does it seem to be just a better deal going that way?
I've not ran into anybody yet. All I've ran into is a lot of people, I have a contract. Can I get out of it? Yep. What hoops do I need to jump through?
That's a good question. At what point is it advisable to go ahead and cut ties with that contract? Or is there a point? Do you in your opinion, I guess, would you recommend that people, when they look at that, at what point should they jump it? Because it's like a $250 cost maybe, or somewhere roughly?
Or more. It all depends on how your contract goes. I would say I would wait till you're ready for an upgrade. Okay. When you're able to get an upgrade at the discounted rate, I would definitely look then.
Okay. So
unless there's some reason that you just hate what you have.
You're just so unhappy that you're willing to get out of it.
Right.
And it's still, you guys would save $1,000. I would save $600. At some point, that's worth buying your way out of.
Right.
So if it's a really bad contract for you.
Right. Plus, we pay $650 or $550 for the phone now. If something goes bad, we can get it fixed or whatever. I'm not locked in to having that phone for 2 years.
And for an upgrade.
Right. I'll probably hold that phone for longer than 2 years, but I'm not sitting there hold down saying, oh, you have to have that phone for 2 years.
Cena, that was just taped. Joe will hold that phone for 2 years.
Well,
you and I both heard it.
Well, I bought my iPhone 4 when it first came out.
Camera.
I don't care. I bought my iPhone 4 right when it came out, and we're up to the 5S now, so that gives you an idea how long I've had mine.
Just remember that 6 months from now when you're in Android, and you're like, yes. I'll say, Joe. No, but all jokes aside, it sounds that, like I say, you've done the basic outline for everyone. You've set the patterns out there. You gave them the pros and cons. When people contact you, you've told them what they need to bring to your doorstep. How can you help folks? If I came up to you and said, Joe, okay, I've done my homework. It will save me money. Tell me what I need to do. Where do you go from there?
Pick your device. What kind of phone do you want? Do you want just a regular cell phone? Do you want a smartphone?
So they come to you and you can tell them, go to our website.
Yes.
Look down through, figure out what you want to do, and A&M Digital Technologies fixes them up.
Right. Okay.
Now, and I know the first thing everybody's going to say, well, order it off the internet, I can go shopping on the internet. Where does that fall? What's the pros, I guess, to coming to you and saying, Joe, help me pick a phone?
Well,
versus just random shopping on the internet.
Well, random shopping, you don't know, because there's so many situations with the phones is, like let's say the guy I work with, he just bought a Samsung Galaxy S3 for his son. And I actually sit down with him and helped him pick out the phone that he wanted, because you go in there and you'll find Sprint, a Sprint S3, you'll find a Verizon S3, you'll find AT&T S3, you'll find an unlocked S3. Well, what's that mean?
Right.
And for a situation with this, I always recommend going with the unlocked phone. And what that means is the phone is free to go to whatever carrier you want to. You're not locked down to this phone will only work with AT&T, or this phone will only work with Verizon. It's unlocked, which means you go to the store, you get the SIM card, you throw it in. If you don't like that, you go to a different carrier and get their SIM card.
Right. And I think what we talked about earlier, it's kind of like going and buying a car. You want to talk to somebody that's driven that car, knows about that car, and if you translate that over into phones, you're that guy.
Right.
Like who knows better than Joe? So you want to talk to somebody that knows about phones, knows about the upgrade system or the system upgrades and the different features they have, rather than just looking on the internet and trying to sort through yourself. Come talk to an expert, and that way you get that personal help.
Well, and not to knock the cell phone stores, but there are some employees that I've gone into the stores and I get enjoyment just to try to see exactly what all do they know, and they'll try to sell you anything just because
just to get the sale.
Right, because they make money off the revenue.
Yeah. And that's the key. I think, as we talked earlier, the idea is to make sure you get what you want.
Right.
And to do that, you got to have a non-biased opinion and someone that works on stuff and fixes stuff and has a good idea of reviewing stuff to get that opinion.
Right.
All right, well, that sounds good. Joe, if someone wants to get a hold of you, they're sitting where we're talking. The scenario is their contract is up. They're looking, they crunch the numbers. It is going to save them some money to go this route. How do they get a hold of you?
You can give us a call at our offices at 304-927-3588 or visit our website at amdigitaltechnologies.com.
Or be friends with you on Facebook like I am.
Yep.
And then I get those daily specials. And you guys have had some fantastic specials coming up with Christmas around.
I was going to say, the specials are only coming. Get ready for our Black Friday sale. It's going to be huge.
Yep. And I know we went down to the Fall Festival here in Spencer. I was trying to think of the name. I've already forgot it. Cena's back here trying to tell me, but it's not working.
Yeah.
But the Fall Festival here in Spencer last week, you had the Whoosh product on sale. Went fantastic down there.
We sold out, and that was one of the things that we was afraid to sell out because then we wouldn't have any in stock. But we was excited that people was loving it so much that we was able to sell out.
Well, you're sitting down there, you do a demo for everybody. I mean, that's an easy sell.
Yeah.
A great product, and you reviewed it on this show. But great stocking stuff for Christmas presents. You have it all that comes across your Facebook page. I've been looking at it and just saying, "Ooh boy, gotta drop some hints about what I want in my stockings."
Yeah.
So be friends with A&M Digital Technologies or Joe on Facebook, and you get those daily specials. And again, remember, folks, shop local. You're the technology guru here in Roane County, and for these tough questions about your bill, switching, whether you should stay with the contract or not, definitely go talk to somebody. It'll make it a lot easier. That's how Joe and I talked before. We've got our last set of phones, and that just makes it so much easier. All right, so again, A&M Digital Technologies. This show, I'm here with Joe McDonald, Cena McDonald, producing behind the scenes, willing to donate her phone for any trial that we may have, dunking in water or whatever the case may be. And we'll
Drop,
be back.
kicks, or throws. She's the one to call.
There you go. So we'll be back next week with a new topic. Again, check out all the shows. You convert all our shows here at Patch over to the iPods,
Podcast, YouTube.
Yeah. One of these days, I will learn.
See, if you had an Apple device, you'd already know it. It just rolls off the tongue.
I knew it would come back. But all joking aside, make sure you shop local, support local business. A&M Digital Technologies here for all your needs in Roane County. And we'll see you next week with a new topic. Enjoy all our shows.
All right, see you then.